In the early 1800s, Latin America was a powder keg waiting to explode. Under the firm grip of Spanish and Portuguese rule, no one could have predicted the revolutionary wave that would soon sweep across the continent. But how did this all begin? Let's take a closer look. At the dawn of the 19th century, Latin America was largely under the control of the Spanish in most of the Americas and the Portuguese in Brazil. If you want to understand the background of this region's earlier history, check out our previous documentary. By 1800, the Spanish Americas were divided into 4 major viceroyalties. The most prominent and crucial of these was New Spain, which covered modern-day Mexico, Central America, parts of the Caribbean, the Philippines, and even territories like California and Texas. During this time, society was dominated by the Creoles, descendants of full Spanish blood born in the Americas, and the Peninsulares, those born in Spain who came to the colonies. However, many Creoles had been influenced by Enlightenment ideas and nationalism, often through education in European universities. This was a time of upheaval across the world. The United States had just gained its independence. The French had overthrown their monarchy, and Haiti had toppled their French rulers. In 1808, after Napoleon forced the Spanish king to abdicate, many Latin American regions set up councils to govern in the name of the deposed monarch. This move laid the groundwork for the push for full independence. Tensions between the Creoles and Peninsulares escalated into what would become the Latin American Wars of Independence. In 1810, the Mexican War of Independence ignited in the small town of Dolores. Catholic priest Miguel Hidalgo rang the bell that would spark the revolution, calling for an end to Spanish rule, slavery, and the oppressive tribute system that burdened indigenous and mixed-race populations. Hidalgo gathered a poorly equipped army, mainly of indigenous and mixed-race people, and initially managed to capture several cities. But in 1811, they were defeated at the Battle of Calderon Bridge. Hidalgo fled but was eventually captured and executed. After Hidalgo's death, the movement continued under leaders like José María Morelos, another priest who convened the Congress of Chilpancingo, which formally declared independence and drafted a constitution. However, Morelos was captured and executed in 1815, marking the beginning of a brutal guerrilla phase. Leaders like Vicente Guerrero and Guadalupe Victoria kept up the fight, causing persistent problems for the royalist forces. However, they were not seen as a major threat to Spanish rule. In 1820, a surprising development occurred. Spanish King Ferdinand, under pressure, adopted a liberal constitution that alienated many of the conservative Creoles in New Spain. Then, in a shocking turn, conservative royalist military leader Agustín de Iturbide switched sides and joined the independence movement, aligning with Guerrero. Together, they created the Plan of Iguala, which promised 3 guarantees independence under a constitutional monarchy, equality for both Peninsulares and Creoles, and the protection of the Catholic Church. Indigenous people and mixed races were also granted social equality in this new, multi-ethnic state. This tactical alliance, known as the Army of the 3 Guarantees, succeeded in pressuring the remaining Spanish forces. On August 24, 1821, the Viceroy signed the Treaty of Córdoba, recognizing Mexico's independence. On September 27th, the Army of the 3 Guarantees triumphantly entered Mexico City, and the First Mexican Empire was established, with Iturbide crowned emperor in 1822. But from the outset, it was clear that the empire wouldn't last. Iturbide's increasingly autocratic leadership and his decision to dissolve Congress alienated many of his former supporters. Guadalupe Victoria orchestrated a coup, forcing Iturbide to abdicate. The monarchy was abolished in 1823, and shortly thereafter, Central America broke off to form its own federated republic. After a brief period of instability, Mexico's first republic was officially established, with Victoria as its first president. In 1829, Latin America saw a historic moment. The first president of African descent on mainland North America took office peacefully. But this was just the beginning of a revolution that would sweep the continent, reshaping the future of entire nations. By 1829, Vicente Guerrero had become the first president of African descent in mainland North America, ushering in a peaceful transition of power in Mexico. His ascent marked a significant milestone in Latin America's independence movement. Meanwhile, in South America, the struggle for freedom took shape in a similar fashion. Initially, Peru was the only viceroyalty on the continent, but by the early 1800s, it shared the region with New Granada to the north and Rio de la Plata to the south. The key figure in South America's fight for independence would become known as El Libertador, Simón Bolívar. Born in 1783 in what is now Venezuela, Bolívar was raised in the privileged circles of the Creole elite. Like many of his peers, he studied abroad in Europe. During his travels, Bolívar witnessed the grandeur of Napoleon's Italian coronation and visited the sacred Mount of Rome, experiences that deeply influenced his vision for Latin American independence. When the Peninsular War erupted in Europe, Bolívar seized the opportunity to begin the Venezuelan War of Independence. On April 19th, after an insurrection in Caracas forced the resignation of the Spanish Captain General, Venezuela became the first Spanish colony to declare independence. The First Republic of Venezuela was established. Disaster struck in 1812 when a massive earthquake hit the Republican-held regions, which the Royalists portrayed as divine retribution. Many Venezuelans turned against the revolution, and by 1813, Spain regained control. Bolívar wasn't done, though. He led the legendary Admirable Campaign, liberating the western part of Venezuela. The people of Caracas hailed him as the Liberator, and the Second Republic of Venezuela was born. However, this too was short-lived, as the Spanish forces reclaimed Venezuela just a year later. Bolívar suffered a major setback after his forces, overconfident and underprepared, were decisively defeated by irregular royalist troops. This defeat forced Bolívar and two-thirds of the population to flee the capital, leading to another massive blow to the independence movement. In exile, Bolívar wrestled with the harsh realities of the struggle. He even questioned whether a true republic could survive in Latin America, leaning towards an oligarchic model due to his concerns about social tensions and instability among the mixed ethnicities. Bolívar, a Creole himself, feared that the diverse makeup of post-revolutionary Latin America could lead to chaos, but Bolívar's vision was grand. He imagined a united Latin America, coordinating defense, economy, and policy. He returned to the fight with renewed determination, not striking at Venezuela directly, but instead daringly crossing the Andes Mountains to launch an attack on New Granada, modern-day Panama and Colombia. On August 7, 1819, at the Battle of Boyacá, Bolívar liberated New Granada, securing a crucial victory that would eventually lead to the creation of Gran Colombia, a republic that united much of northern South America. The Congress of Angostura in 1819 laid the foundation for this new nation, and Bolívar was elected president. Bolívar's campaign continued, culminating in the decisive Battle of Carabobo on June 24, 1821, which secured Venezuela's independence. Bolívar then dispatched General Antonio José de Sucre to liberate Quito, modern-day Ecuador, which was achieved after the Battle of Pichincha on May 24, 1822. This victory incorporated Quito into Gran Colombia. At the same time, a parallel liberation movement was taking place in the south. José de San Martín, born in the Rio de la Plata Viceroyalty, also played a pivotal role. He had moved to Spain as a child, where he joined the Spanish army and fought against Napoleon. His experiences, particularly with Spain's resistance to French occupation and the liberal ideals that emerged, strongly influenced his revolutionary path. The winds of revolution swept across South America, but the road to independence was anything but easy. From daring military maneuvers in the Andes to bold declarations by riversides, the fight for freedom in the Americas was a tale of struggle, sacrifice, and triumph. Let's dive in. In Venezuela, the May Revolution of 1810 saw the downfall of the Spanish viceroy, paving the way for the united provinces of Rio de la Plata, what would eventually become the Argentine state. This marked the beginning of the Argentine War of Independence. Paraguay, once part of this viceroyalty, declared its independence in 1811, while to the west, Chile also revolted against Spanish rule, declaring its own independence. San Martín, having returned to his native land, now part of the United Provinces of Rio de la Plata, became a leading figure in the independence movement. He took charge of the Army of the North, fighting against royalist forces, and officially declared independence in 1816. However, San Martín knew that the key to securing lasting freedom lay in a more strategic approach. He orchestrated one of the most audacious military moves in history, the crossing of the Andes. With most of his horses and mules lost to the journey and many soldiers succumbing to the harsh conditions, including freezing temperatures and lack of oxygen, this feat stands as a testament to San Martín's leadership. After the treacherous crossing, San Martín's forces defeated the Spanish at the Battle of Chacabuco and the Battle of Maipú, effectively securing Chilean independence. He then appointed his military leader, Bernardo O'Higgins, as the Supreme Director of Chile in 1817. From this stronghold, San Martín launched a naval expedition to Peru in 1820. His military and diplomatic efforts played a crucial role in Peru's declaration of independence in 1821. After capturing Lima from the Spanish, San Martín was named Protector of Peru, a position he held while trying to establish a stable government. However, he soon met with Simón Bolívar in Guayaquil to discuss the future of Peru and the South American independence movement. Though the details of their meeting remain unclear, San Martín resigned his position, leaving Bolívar to continue the fight. Bolívar then took the revolution southward, leading successful campaigns in Upper Peru and Peru itself. The culmination of Bolívar's efforts came with the decisive Battle of Junín, but it wasn't until December 9, 1824, on the high Andean plains near Ayacucho, that the final blow was struck. This battle, led by General Sucre, was more than just a military confrontation. It symbolized the end of Spanish colonial rule in South America. Following this victory, the capitulation of Ayacucho was signed, effectively ending Spanish dominance in the region. In recognition of Bolívar's contributions, Upper Peru was renamed Bolivia, and a constitution was drafted for the new nation, honoring Bolívar's vision of a united Latin America. Thanks for unlocking another chapter of history with us here at the Archive Vault. If you love diving into the past as much as we do, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a discovery. Drop us a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and join us as we uncover more hidden stories from history's vault. See you next time.